So ladies and gentlemen, announcing the best practices of how to make staff engagement work. If you're going to improve engagement, you can't buy it in a box, you have to change the culture. Now, culture is a funny thing. You can't go to work tomorrow and open a closet and take out the culture and polish it. It's not that definitive. It's not that physical or tangible. It's a squishy thing like trying to grab Jell-O. How do you change a culture? Part of the problem is you have 100 people working for you. 3 of them came from Scotia. 2 of them came from NCB. 5 of them came from Grace Kennedy. And they come with their different understanding of what business is like. And we ask them to do the best they know how to do with some technical competency training to build the business. Well, how do you get a culture with so many fragmented sources until you get a consistent mindset as to who we are, what we value, and how we treat the world? So some companies are in trouble simply by not doing anything, and you get people from all walks of life thinking that their way is right. You need to create the narrative, is what I'm extending this mindset thing. In order to change the culture for staff engagement as we define it, we need to go after leadership, we need to go after staff. But you could, quote unquote, and I don't like the term, fix the leaders and it doesn't work. You could fix the staff and it doesn't work. You could fix both of them and 6 months later they forget. The third piece is critical for sustainability. We need to put systems in place, programs in place that measure and that incentivize and that recognize people for the right behaviors. And that's the part where some companies fall down. So those are the components. That's what culture comes from, those 3 components. And then the question is, what's the process? Here's the process. Here's the process. We need a team of people dedicated to developing the solution by going through the steps of discovery, destination, design, development, deployment, and create some sustainability programs. And of course, the big word design and development has to do with building strategies and tactics and detailed implementation plans and have them lead it and have their compensation connected to the success of the program. Otherwise, they will launch it and go back to their regular work and nothing will happen. We need champions who will walk through the solutions that will embed into the hearts and minds of the people and therefore affect their behavior. That's a big, big thing right there. We can't go into all the detail, but let's just take it for a little while. I mentioned this company. It's the same one that had that yellow thing where the staff member said we have to suck it up even though we don't like the boss. Massive company. And I start out with them working on the different components. We have a thing called leadership leverage coaching, which seeks month after month for 12 months to take leaders through things that are not taught in schools very well. So we take them through public speaking and presentation skills, connection with the people. We take them through productivity in adversity, how to be successful not in spite of adversity, but because of it. Uh-oh. What a twist, right? We take them through meeting management, how to have meetings that make money, the best practices of meeting management. We take them through things like the high performance culture and workplace professionalism month after month after month, including one-on-ones. And so this is what happens there. We can't do it one day, we can't do it 1 month. We have to establish the narrative and keep it going. They tend to get into it and make a real difference there. And so once we do that and we take them through this curriculum, I have a curriculum of 14 leadership competencies that you don't find done really well in schools. You kind of learn them. You know, if you're an engineer and you do really well on your job and you get promoted 4 times, one day you're senior manager, and then the company starts asking you for things that engineering didn't prepare you to do. You notice how that works? You need to now understand general management. You need to understand people. You need to know personality types and temperaments. You need to be flexible to get in and out of people's spaces. You need to know how to enroll people. But I came in the company for engineering. And so we fill those gaps. But while we're doing that now, we're doing the staff engagement workshop, which is putting 40, 50 people in a room. And I do this, I beat them up. Did I beat them up? I slam them hard and nicely about life and the rules of nature and what it takes to be successful, and that your success is not a function of your boss, and that you were born for purpose, and that if your mother told you that you were an accident, she was just an ignorant passageway through which God made you here to come for a purpose. And what are you going to do with it? Because if you get to your grave and you never go after your dreams, you will die regretful and miserable. And we teach them principles. And once we disturb them, what's the theme? What's the theme? There's 3 words. What are they? Disturb, reconnect, and engage. Once we disturb them, then we can reconnect them with a more positive, visionary way to go. And then finally, the third component is this multifunctional team. Put a team together of 12 to 15 people. You give them that 7, 8-step chart I showed you before and say, we want you to discover the thing by doing analysis. We want you to design the thing. We want you to deploy the thing. Yeah? And so what happens here is this team meets once a month for 6 months. I'm suggesting to you that you do this. Now, this requires about 6 months of work to say what's going on, what's good, what's bad, and then how do we establish a destination with some scorecards to measure effectiveness. Then the design is, what are the strategies, what are the tactics, what's the implementation plan? I've seen this work like a charm. And so I want to show you a few pages. What I have here is a big book of templates and charts and so forth that take the multifunctional team through this. There is a chart here that says if you should have all of these humming, you would never talk about engagement again. It would be irrelevant. You know, I don't believe in solving things. I believe in setting a vision and going toward it. If you should have an organization, just listen to this for a moment, that has leadership right in those areas, sub-bulleted there, has training and development right, this is what they're asking for, by the way. The best practices says that your staff wants to have great leadership. They want the training and development that gives them hope for the future. They want to be empowered with all that goes with that. They want to have a voice. They want to know that they can speak about things that are going on. They want to make sure that they are fulfilling their purpose working for you. They want meaning, even if they're just sitting at a phone and answering questions. They want meaning. They want a work environment that's conducive to their better life. And they want to have pride in the company. You know, nobody gets it perfectly, but when you have that working for you, you stop buying data about staff engagement because the thing just works. And so this is the charge that's given to the multifunctional team. How do you develop programs, first of all, through the analysis, through the establishment of goals, and through developing strategies? How do you get all of that to happen? So we got pages. Is the company trusted to deliver on its promises? The staff, the clients. Is coaching mentorship a part of the culture? What's the answer? What kind of details can you give us? Strategy number 1, put a design. What's the name of the strategy? Why do you have the strategy? Who are the people who are going to be targeted? When will it be done? What are the ideas in the strategy? When it gets to tactics, the same kind of thing, the detailed documentation with dates. When it gets to the work plan, who's going to do what to whom and when? And then, by the way, you lead the strategy and you're responsible for its successful deployment. And then we get to a place where we put the entire plan on a page and you go back and say, hey, here it is. By the way, if you do this in your company, don't let them run off for 6 months. Create an executive committee where once every 2 months they report to senior management, specific people representing different parts of the company, so that the senior management can open doors for them, can make sure that they're not going off course, invent something that doesn't make sense, and then waste the company's time. This is a deliberate process of saying we will be the employer of choice in the marketplace. It's onto the practical thing now that says after all this process and concept, we come to some very practical things. Here's something they're working on. We're going to have a sports day once a year. They have several locations across the country. We're going to have, during the year, a playoff to find who is the best runner and who is the best domino player and who is the best dancer. And they're all there trying to get chosen to represent their location. And once a year, like we did in high school, we're going to have a sports day where we figure out what's the number 1 site and the number 2 site. And we're going to reward everybody, and it's going to be incredible. So now, I have bad attitude. I really want to quit, okay? I'm a staff member. And I can't stand my boss. But one of the things that's going on right now is I'm the fastest runner in my department. I want to quit tomorrow, but the competition comes up 9 months from now. You think I will really, really want to quit? Because the thing that makes me want to quit is lack of dignity. If I wait and go win the competition, I'll get dignity. I mean, it's a simplistic thing. Do you see what happens? The longevity of the organization is dependent on having a vision that's out there somewhere that draws the organization. And that's part of what works so well for us. I recommend to you that you look in your brochure, find the experts who are here, talk to them. Certainly, you could do it on your own, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you choose people to do it, make sure the people in your company who do it are people who have a high level of the conceptual understanding, the theories of human thinking and culture transformation. And that's not enough. Because you could get somebody who's academic who's never done it before. Make sure you have somebody who has lived it on the practical side, who's willing to dispense with theory if it doesn't work in this particular culture. If you can find somebody in the inside who understands the theory and the concept and the thinking and who has hands on the ground, feet on the ground to do the practical thing, let that person be your champion. In a company where you don't have a person who has that multifaceted skill, hire me, call me. I'll come and beat up your people for you. Hire Jeffrey. hire Nsombi Jaja, hire somebody who comes from a mix of cultures, because one of the problems that we have is when we try to fix a system from the inside, the people who are trying to fix it are infected by the thing we're trying to get rid of. And pardon me for using the word infected, but you understand? Yeah. So look outside sometimes.